Welcome back to the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, or as the game calls it right now, the Stanley Parable 2. So, let us begin the game. Last episode was...
This is the story.
crazy, because he went on his own track and added balloons everywhere.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Now there's a bucket.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
So...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Let's go to the left.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. Coming to a staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
What?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Wrong
Mariella
story.
woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
What? What story full of idiots am I in? What the hell? Bruh. Probably only intelligent person is me, Gordon Freeman. Ah, God.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Yeah.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Why is everyone talking to buckets too? Yeah, I'm alive. Yeah, shut up.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
I'm gonna collect this doll.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't
sure?
buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Okay, whatever. Will I still die if I fall down? Probably. Also, that doesn't make any sense. Oh no. It's a lot of cassette tapes. Neighbors.
Okay, this is day number 295, tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes.
What kind of Portal 2 lore is it?
Sheer euphoria I feel every time
I swear, next
pick
time
it
you're
up.
gonna wake up Shell.
No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
He's dead. This is a horror game now. This is Phasmophobia. Great, we got a murder on the loose now. What is this?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Figure Finders Committee meeting today in the meeting room.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What's in the meeting room today? Spiritualize our resources to ensure their retrieval. There are many questions. Agenda. How can you tell you've spotted one? What makes them float in the air? Who took these pictures of them? Follow clues provided by employee 416. We can do it. Red room? Thank you. Good luck. Maybe we are the collectibles. Shut the frick up. To whom it may concern. I managed to pick up sounds unusual to our regular office ambiances or local audio sources using an area of... Okay. Lots of boxes. Okay, 3. I want to take a picture of this. Alright. Stairs. Something to do with the stairs. Some are both red and blue. Okay. Nearby a fireplace. Okay. A private but smelly place for an important person. Okay. Basement with the car ending I just did. Some are both red and blue. The 2 door endings that I cannot do. I already took an exit. Okay.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. Let's go back down. Let's check. That's underneath. I hear it.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Okay. Next, we need to go fireplace. Is there one on the bathroom? I saw one.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
I have no clue. Fireplace. Z Panda. actually hear the narrator singing to it, which is pretty funny. Pretty cool ending.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
This ain't New Age. Why is there a camera?
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the open passageway.
In his office, it's a little weird. What's the mini Stanley was? No, I'm good.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anlarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one. And then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anlarines. None of us can.
Yeah, if I reset my data, sure I can.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Because he never left his building, or he had no idea of leaving his office.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Probably not. He's kind of a baby. To be honest with you, Stanley? Yeah, he's kind of a baby.
Now the monitors jumped to life,
Fire.
Their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an
427.
employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many
my
individuals
room?
reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
No. Right there. There we go. There's 427.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job?
CCTV.
That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Oh, that red carpet's a little weird. 140? Oh, a face punch sign. 580. Pirate. Would that really? It's not Stanley for.
unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he
Little
truly
secret.
spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he... blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine! Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away! And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Just telling you guys, remember that red building, it'll play a part in another ending if you guys never seen the original.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
No, you weren't. Stanley was never happy. Alright, one more ending on my sleeve.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go. Good.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket. Did you know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices? It's true. You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive. Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
How dare you, you liar! I even landed on boxes! Alright, well, one last ending.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oh, Stanley's done.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley,
Oh,
I think
crap.
perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death.
Oh,
Good
what an
job,
ending!
Stanley. Everyone thinks you are
Whoa.
very powerful.
Whatever. I'll continue this game to probably later in the day. Maybe 2 hours or 3. I gotta go. Thank you for watching. Hope you like this video. Comment what you want me to play in the comments below. Thank you for playing, and good night to y'all.